The crystalline halls of the Draconian Palace echoed with centuries of tradition, each corridor a testament to the Empire's unshakable dominance across 17 star systems. Yet within the ornate chambers of the youngest princess, silence reigned absolute. Princess Lily, daughter of Emperor Zarathax the Eternal, had not spoken a single word in her 12 years of existence. The royal physicians proclaimed her physically capable. The court mystics found no curse upon her silver scales. She simply chose silence, retreating into herself whenever tutors approached with their lessons of statecraft, mathematics, or the ancient draconic arts. 17 tutors had failed. 17 scholars, each more decorated than the last, had been dismissed after months of fruitless attempts to reach the small dragon princess, who spent her days staring out windows at distant stars. The emperor's patience, vast as the void itself, had finally worn thin. "One more," he decreed, his voice rattling the palace foundations. "One final tutor. If this fails, the princess shall be deemed unteachable, unfit for succession." The announcement sent ripples through the academic circles of 100 worlds. Who would dare accept such an impossible task? Jackson hadn't meant to accept anything. The human janitor had simply been in the wrong corridor at the wrong time, pushing his cleaning cart past the throne room when the Emperor's chief advisor emerged, desperate and grasping. "You there, human!" The advisor, a wizened dragon named Morpheus, had seized Jackson's arm with surprising strength. "You work in the palace. You've seen the princess, yes?" "I clean her hallways sometimes," Jackson admitted, confused. He was nobody special, just a human who'd taken a janitorial position on the draconian homeworld because it paid better than anything back on Earth's crowded cities. "Good enough. You're hired as royal tutor." I'm a janitor." But the advisor had already thrust official documents into Jackson's hands. "Tomorrow at dawn. Teach her anything. Just make her respond, or we'll all lose our heads, metaphorically speaking. Probably." That night, Jackson sat in his modest quarters, panic rising in his chest. He possessed no teaching credentials, no knowledge of dragon pedagogy, no understanding of royal protocols. All he had was a cleaning cart, a high school education from Earth, and a worn box he'd kept since childhood. He opened the box with trembling hands. Inside lay his mother's old puppets, simple cloth creations she'd made during his own silent years, when trauma had stolen his voice after his father's death. She'd spoken to him through them, given him space to respond to silly characters rather than demanding adults. It was absurd. It would never work. But Jackson had no other ideas. Dawn found him outside Princess Lily's chamber, 2 puppets tucked in his janitor's uniform. The guards admitted him with pitying expressions, another tutor marching toward failure. The princess sat by her window as always, small for her age, her silver scales catching the morning light. She didn't acknowledge Jackson's entrance. He didn't announce himself with grand speeches like the previous tutors. Instead, he simply began cleaning, dusting shelves with practiced efficiency. After several minutes, he pulled out the first puppet, a raggedy dragon made from an old sock and buttons. "Excuse me?" Jackson said in a gravelly voice, making the puppet bob toward Lily. "Is this the royal chamber? I'm terribly lost. I was trying to find the kitchen, you see, because I'm absolutely starving, but these fancy palaces all look the same to me." The princess's tail twitched slightly. Not much, but something. Jackson continued, introducing a second puppet, a small bird made from blue felt. "Don't listen to him," the bird squeaked in Jackson's falsetto. "He's always lost. Last week he tried to eat a decorative plant thinking it was a salad." "It looked crunchy," the dragon puppet protested. The tiniest sound escaped Princess Lily, something between a breath and a laugh. Jackson's heart hammered, but he maintained the performance, letting the puppets bicker about palace life, about the confusion of human janitors in dragon courts, about the loneliness of big empty rooms. Over the following weeks, a pattern emerged. Jackson would arrive, clean methodically, then the puppets would appear. Sometimes they told stories. Sometimes they struggled with math problems and asked for help, which Lily would provide by arranging objects or pointing to numbers. Sometimes they were simply scared, confused, or sad, voicing feelings the princess herself couldn't express. Lily never spoke, but she began responding. A nod here, an arrangement of tiles there, small drawings left on her desk depicting puppet adventures. The court whispered. This wasn't real teaching, they said. The human janitor was wasting everyone's time with children's toys. But Emperor Zarathax watched through observation spells and said nothing. On the 67th day, something shifted. Jackson had been enacting a story about a small dragon who felt different from everyone else, who worried she didn't fit in her own family. I just don't know if they understand me, the dragon puppet said softly. Or if they even want to. Princess Lily stood abruptly, crossing to Jackson. For a terrifying moment, he thought he'd overstepped, that guards would drag him away. Instead, she gently took the dragon puppet from his hands. She held it carefully, examining its button eyes and stitched scales. Then, in a voice rusty with disuse but clear as crystal chimes, she whispered, They want to. They just don't know how. The silence that followed was deafening. Your Highness, Jackson breathed. The other tutors talked at me, Lily continued, words tumbling out like water from a broken dam. They wanted me to be something I wasn't ready to be, but you... She clutched the puppet tighter. You let me be silent when I needed silence. You spoke for me until I could speak for myself. Jackson knelt, tears streaming down his face. I only did what my mother once did for me. The Emperor materialized in the doorway, his massive form radiating shock and wonder. Daughter? Lily turned, still holding the puppet. Father, I'm ready to learn now, but can Jackson stay? Can the puppet stay? For the first time in centuries, Emperor Zarathax the Eternal smiled. The human janitor is hereby appointed royal tutor, and the puppets shall have chambers of their own. Jackson taught Princess Lily for 7 years. She mastered 17 disciplines, became fluent in 40 languages, and eventually succeeded her father as empress. Throughout her reign, she kept those worn puppets on her throne room desk, a reminder that sometimes the greatest teachers aren't the most qualified, but simply the most understanding. And in every draconian school thereafter, alongside traditional methods, there appeared a new approach, one that valued silence, that spoke through play, that recognized the strength in vulnerability. The humans called it basic child psychology. The dragons called it revolutionary. Princess Lily called it the day someone finally listened to her silence.